This is Mike DePries, Information Officer in the Cameron Peak Fire, and I am with Kevin Wallner, who is a heavy equipment boss on the fire, and obviously you saw the dozer below me. Kevin, thanks for joining us, and why don't you just give us an idea of what's happening?
So what we got here, we had pushed this line in last Saturday, before the snowstorms hit, and we were trying to rehab this line into its natural state and back to, as best we can, to the state that it was in before we used a lot of this heavy equipment. So starting up top, we've kind of blocked the road off with some larger boulders. Just to deter the public from using UTVs in the area and trying to make this an accessible road. So as you can see, kind of what we got around here, we're trying to give it a little spot so the water doesn't wash entirely off the hill, and by just kind of pitting it. So those seed banks that are here and these grass seeds can actually catch and regrow, hopefully this next spring.
This is called repair, right?
Yep, this is called repair work.
And what this line itself that you're working on, how long is it, and is it typical as far as what you got to do?
So this was used as a contingency line. So the main fire edge was actually the next ridge line over, close to the timber. But this was a perfect spot to where if the fire didn't get caught on those lines, we'd have a real defensible space where you can see on both sides, and they were potentially going to be able to burn this off with fire, and it would be easier to catch it in this grass type than it would be in the heavy timber.
It looks like it's super steep. How do you maintain safety and be effective?
So to maintain safety on these, it's surprising how much you can actually walk these dozers down an embankment like this. And so with these pieces of equipment, when you're pushing line, you can push a lot more downhill than you can uphill. So in this case, we're kind of working down, and he's not pushing line right now by any means, but if they were, they can go down some pretty steep embankments, and I think a lot of people don't realize like how vertical they can make those things go. So with this, it's a fairly gentle hill. He has his ways that he can maneuver around this area pretty effectively, and even with the rock formations that we have up near the top here, he can surprisingly move a lot of material with a pretty steep slope.
That's awesome. And obviously you want to put things back to the way they were.
Absolutely.
And move on. I'm sure you've got a lot of other work to do ahead of you.
Absolutely. We've got the rest of Storm Mountain up here. This was just the spot that we could get to right now since the snow's off it. It's dry, the dirt's not real powdery. It's the perfect time to be working on these lines up here.